I have two questions. They're actually for Ms. Trottenberg, and they're specific to aviation. But my first question is about there's a program out there called the Living History Flight Experience Program, and what that did was allow owners and operators of very historically significant aircraft, which can be very expensive to maintain and run. They used to be able to apply for an exemption to have some limited passenger carrying capability to be able to, again, help pay for those aircraft. 2 years ago, the FAA eliminated that exemption and said they would come out with a rule in October of 2012, which was last October, and they have still yet to provide a rule. And I know a lot of these folks are just hanging out there waiting for an opportunity. But my first question is, why is it that you all closed the rule, or the exemption at least, on that when, just to be able to get the experience, I guess, of flying in one of these historic aircraft? But yet right now you can buy a ride on Spaceship Two to experience space as a commercial effort. It's okay to go into space and take a ride there, but it's not okay to take a ride on one of these airplanes, or at least allow these 501c3s to apply for an exemption to be able to give that.
Yeah, and I apologize, Mr. Chairman. I actually am not familiar with the living history rule, so I don't know what FAA's reasoning was. I hear your concern, though, that it's taken a long time, and I certainly would like to get back to your staff on sort of what the status of it is. In general, I know from the FAA's point of view, they do sort of a constant upgrade on their rules and regulations looking at safety issues. And I'm not sure here. I would presume that might have been the reasoning behind it. But again, I'd like to check and get back to you on that.
Well, here, then have your staff or yourself write down. There's three things that I want to know. One, I want to know what the, purpose behind this was, which is a very general question. The second thing is I want to know when the new rules going to come out, because you've missed the deadline. By a long ways, as a matter of fact, and you've got a lot of people out there depending. So I want to know when, and I also want to know how much you're involving the industry out there to help write the new rules to make sure that these opportunities are safe and that they can continue to offer or be able to apply for this exemption and offer these rides with a obviously with the waiver. The next thing is when it comes to the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, which recently issued a rule on ELTs. Those are emergency locator transmitters. They're in every single aircraft that's out there. They're required to be in every single aircraft that's out there. They right now operate on 121.5 megahertz, and basically you have airplanes and airlines that monitor that frequency all the time in case something goes down, and so they can find that aircraft. Well, the FCC came out with a rule that said that they can no longer be manufactured, they cannot be imported, they cannot be certified, they cannot be used, and they cannot be sold, which means you have hundreds of thousands of aircraft out there with this equipment in there, and now being required to buy new equipment, which is going to cost millions and millions of dollars to the industry and to a lot of small businesses out there. And my question is, and you may not be able to answer this either, but I do want an answer from you. I want to know if the FAA Department of Transportation is going to oppose that FCC's rule, because it is going to be extraordinarily burdensome. And these are small businesses and this equipment is very expensive. These are small businesses that are trying to operate, and again, it comes right underneath what we're talking about and some of the things that are coming out. And involving the industry out there, which it's not being involved, it's not being asked to take part in this process. But and you probably aren't familiar with that rule either. I'll let you go ahead and comment.
Well, I know, Mr. Chairman, we have obviously a new chairman coming into the FCC, and actually the DOT, we have a lot of issues that we're setting up an agenda to speak to them about. So let me make sure this is on the list and get with FAA and get back to you with some answers on it. There's a whole range in the transportation field, as you know, of spectrum and communication issues that involve our two agencies.
Well, how soon can I expect an answer? Can I expect it in 2 weeks?
Let us try and get you something in by the end of this week. How about that?
Okay, by the end of this week. That's perfect. Ms. Velasquez?